listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is the Frank Skinner Show. I'm Emily Dean and I'm standing in for Frank today because he's walked. He hasn't. He's currently indisposed. And we wish you better, you glorious Birmingham. I'm not alone today. I haven't gone Greta Garbo. I'm joined by two men who are both what I'm going to call surprisingly nice looking for a comic. Are you okay with that?
I'll take that.
Backhanded.
No, I'll take it.
It's all right when I say it.
Yeah.
It's Alun Cochrane and Gareth Richards. You can tweet us on @FrankOnTheRadio or you can email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Hi, Alun. Hi, Gareth.
Morning. I mean, as a demographic, the population of comedians has improved as eye candy goes over the last, I would say, decade. This, you know, that who's the guy who I don't know.
I don't know. I feel uncomfortable about putting people into the attractive and unattractive categories.
Well, especially in these times.
Joel Dommett. He's a handsome boy.
Yeah,
Isn't he?
He's
really
considered.
skewed the stats.
I think he was a game changer. I think when he came along and was actually funny, people went, "Oh, it can be done." Like,
Well, I think he's made it hard for the rest.
Yeah,
Because
for
before
sure.
him, you could have what I believe Russell Howard calls good looking for a comic.
Right? Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's all gone out the window now. It's just
Yeah.
good looking. Anyway, we might get in terrible trouble. We're,
From the ugly comics that are up, they're asleep now. The many ugly comics.
No, I've
are
been through.
asleep
I've been
right
through
now.
all them. I have some
on a different subject. So Frank's not ill, isn't he? That's why he's not in.
about my Birmingham like that. So I need some advice from you both,
Oh God.
if that's okay. I think you're quite good on advice,
Yeah,
both
come
of
to the
you.
right place. Bit of an expert in life.
Yeah.
It's to do with the sort of low-level fury that I find myself feeling.
Oh, now we're
Now,
talking.
Well, as I get... Calm down, dear. As I get older, I'm not prone to those sort of biblical rages that I used to get when I was a young woman. I don't think you can have those past about 30. I think it's a bit undignified, isn't it?
Right, and exhausting, presumably. Just the cadence being so jaggedy, you know, the up and down. Like, yeah.
I haven't got the time, dear.
Yeah.
So, but I do sometimes just get sort of vaguely irritated. So I want to know how to deal with this. My first... It sounds like a riddle. My first is driving. My first is in... it's a driving situation, Al.
Oh, okay.
So Alan is our driving correspondent.
I was formerly a motoring correspondent, and then Emily started doing it. Just stole the job from me.
Wow.
This is to do with the crosstown thank you.
How?
Are you familiar with this? So if you let someone go, I call it the Gandalf.
Right,
ye shall not pass type of scenario.
Right.
And you have the bit of the standoff, and then you think, who's gonna crumble first? Who's gonna say,
Right.
okay, you go?
Yeah.
I do think in that situation, I want a big old thank you.
What, a wave or a nod, or if it's nighttime, a flash of the lights?
I want a smile.
Oh.
I want a big smile.
Oh, yeah. No.
Okay.
You're asking too much. But then again, I do a lot of my driving in the gritty north of England, so the smiles are...
Well, I
Once every 6 months.
Yeah, there's a definite budget for them, yeah.
Well, I had an incident this week. I should say at this point, actually, I believe Michael McIntyre does some very fine material on this, so I promise I'm not disrespecting MM. I love MM. I'm not joke stealing. But this happened to me. I was turning into my actual road, so it's my manor.
Yeah.
So I just, I'm not trying to lead the jury, I'm just saying I was in my road.
You're feeling entitled.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Gareth.
If we could imagine such a thing.
The very idea. I was going to call him a white van man. He was a man standing in front of a girl. No, he was a man driving a white van. Okay? I'm sure there was a Union Jack somewhere involved. But anyway, he was in
get all Emily
the white
on this.
van. Brexit apologist. He was in the white van and he looked over at me. The sun was a bit in my eyes. It wasn't a good situation for me. I was feeling a bit irritable. And I thought he was doing his you shall
You were
not pass.
irritated by the sun.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm trying to reverse. So he stayed sort of stock still. I thought, okay, fine. I'm going to reverse. So I reversed that baby. And he drove past me, barely slowed down. And what irritated me was his eyes were fixed on the road ahead in a sort of manner which seemed to suggest I'm not thanking you. It wasn't I've forgotten. There was something... So I did something I'm not proud of.
Oh.
Threw your car door open and he smashed it off.
No.
Oh.
I might have honked my horn.
Oh, wow.
Is that weird,
A bit.
Gareth?
I feel your pain. I feel if people are just overly dismissive, if they let me, but I live in quite a narrow road where you have to let people past all the time, and sometimes people will have their hands on the wheel and just sort of move their finger just a tiny bit to tell you to go. And I find that dismissive.
It's not
and
enough of a physical thank you.
Yeah.
Burn more calories when you're thanking me. That's what you want.
It just felt... I just wanted to indicate to him in some way that he'd thrown it in my face and I wasn't very happy. And I wondered whether... Could we not have some symbol that would indicate displeasure? That's not some rude sign.
A horn is too much, isn't it? You need a different sound, which is just like,
Yeah. Or what about a physical thing? You could flash it. What about an emoji? You know, the one where he's scratching his chin as if to say, what's going on there then?
Yeah.
We need the equivalent of that. If anyone's got any suggestions, please text in on 81215.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've been talking about an incident I had with another driver.
I think incident may be overstating it if you really study this. I mean, what happened?
An insurance company wouldn't refer to it as an incident.
No. What happened, if I may précis it, is it...
Your witness.
Is you were in a sort of face-to-face scenario with a let's call it a white van man.
Yeah.
You parallel parked and he drove past with a fixed gaze upon the road and did not acknowledge you. Is that
in any way?
And then you beeped.
Yeah, I beeped him essentially, and then I immediately regretted it and was embarrassed. So I drove on quickly.
Can I tell you my worry?
Please.
I'll tell you my worry is that you beeped and he, in the distance, having already sped off, he probably thought you beeped accidentally whilst trying to steer the car. He might not know.
He doesn't even know I'm angry, is what you're saying.
I don't think he knows you're angry, and he may worse think you're inept. That's my concern. I think.
Thanks for making me feel so much better about the whole incident.
You know, sometimes people do that. I mean, that is like, you know, if somebody has to parallel park outside a pub, they often make a real mess of it, and as they're trying to turn around, they bang their elbow off the beepy bit, the horn.
Well, when you faux horn,
motoring correspondent says beepy bit.
We say horn like it's the magnificent men in their flying machines. What's it called, that thing, the horn? But when I faux horn, or, you know, like an unintentional horn, I'm really quick to... I wave my hands around. I say, sorry.
Right.
I want them to know there was no aggression on my part. I'm just saying, what's difficult about it is when there's no thank you, it is a bit like when you hold the door open for someone.
Oh, I hear you.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I think we've discussed this before, and I maintain the same position I did then, that if you hold the door for someone and you're doing something nice,
yes.
I agree, that's you're a good
We're all
person
agreed
for
on
doing
that.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't thank you and then you say, oh, well, don't say thank you then, you are then attacking that person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so you've gone from doing something nice
to doing something really horrible.
To ruining their day because they didn't say thank you for the nice thing you did. And if you're only doing nice things for thank yous, you need to take a long, hard look at yourself.
I think that's fine. I think it's fine to do nice things for thank yous. It's fine.
So what you're saying
start anytime you like.
I'll try and implement it.
What you're saying is that I was at fault there, essentially. I just want to be absolutely clear about this.
I'm just saying, don't get your sense of self from approval from others.
Oh, I love this.
Oh.
And also, he might have been driving away thinking, I must be careful driving in this van, but deep down in my heart, I'm so grateful to that saintly lady for letting me past, and I can carry on with my life. May all the saints praise her.
He could have expressed that through a wave, though, couldn't he?
He could have waved.
He could have. It's all love, you know.
Can I be honest? This guy sounds a little intense.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had a suggestion in for you, Emily. You were talking about driving acknowledgements, weren't you? I suppose
Yes.
you'd call it.
When you say talking on some sort of middle-aged rant.
I think you were. It's
I
not
was.
for me to say
No.
what your age is.
Okay. Well, it's not for anyone to
But
say.
yes, it was a rant.
No one knows that, love.
Hello, team. Re-driving acknowledgements. I love a re at the start of a missive. Thank you for that. That already lets me know that this is a person that listens to the show. Re-driving acknowledgements, possibly adapter horn for an extra sound. Namely, one of my favourite
Love.
forms of audible displeasure, the classic tut. Although, what it would make a film scene of a traffic jam sound like, I dread to think. Kind regards, 276.
276, that's a bit of a life changer.
Fine work.
I'm going to investigate this. The alternative horn, what do you think?
I don't know.
You're looking
I think,
dubious, Gareth Richards.
I think the tut is one of the worst things you can do to another person.
Oh,
I find it
Sorry.
stick around.
I had to. I'm sorry.
a room full of tuts. No, I find it's so upsetting when someone.
Do you?
Do you not like a tart?
Yeah, no.
My wife and
Really,
children
I
both
prefer
tut me,
people
and I
punch me in the
often,
face.
Do
I
they-
often confront people about tutting.
Do
Tutting,
you?
specifically me. I don't say I have a problem with it in the general sense, but specifically, yeah, I get tutted.
Well, it's the ultimate act of passive aggression, isn't it? So, I mean, I should like it.
yeah, you're right.
But I just find it, it's not enough for me, the tart.
Right.
I want something midway between the biblical sort of, epic rage and the tart, essentially. So, nice try, but I just need something else.
Yeah, the tut could just be like a bit of food stuck between two teeth.
Exactly.
You want people to know that there's a problem rather than that morning they ate an apricot or something.
Exactly.
You know,
I need it to signal slightly greater displeasure.
right.
Okay?
How about, how they have speed awareness courses? What about a politeness awareness course?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe there could be some system where if 3 people come across you and feel like you need to go on this course and they send in your number plate to a particular place, then you get a
But
thing
I
in the
think
post.
that's great. I think you should be able to report people for rudeness. I sometimes feel when I've been in that situation, I think, what can I do?
Like a
Can I
rudeness
take
hotline.
Well, I just
Do you
think...
not worry you might be doing serious time if that was the case?
I think, can I take a picture of the number plate and can I send this to someone? I mean, when I'm
Yeah.
stationary, I might add.
Yes, of course,
I think,
later.
can I send this to someone? Who do I send this to report them?
The internet.
For not being
This
very
is-
nice.
This is exactly what social media was invented for, isn't it? Like spiteful,
Shaming.
petty shaming. Yeah.
I do think, Al, though, the politeness awareness course is a great idea because I have been on the speed awareness course. Have you been on one? Or
Yeah.
are you not? Oh, okay, you're admitting that.
Yeah.
I respect you.
Well, you're not an insurer, are you? Of
Well,
course I'll admit it.
Well, not yet. We'll see how things go. But that's where I learned the fabulous phrase. Do you know this, Gareth? The man who did the speed awareness course taught me Smidsy.
Oh, yeah.
Smidsy.
Smidsy. We've all been in that situation. Smidsy. Sorry, mate, I didn't see you.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
Nice. So we've had a text in from 573. He says, when I stop to allow someone to... So we're talking about thanking people when they stop for you in the road. And 573 says, when I stop to allow someone to give someone right away... And he says right away.
Oh, like sort of filet fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
O apostrophe rather than OF. So he saved no time with keyboard with typing.
You know what? That's just his vernacular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just representing
He's
himself
just a
as
sort
a
of
human.
right away kind of guy.
Yeah.
Do you think he writes gonna? You know when people write that in text?
Well, let's see.
Continue 573.
When I stop to allow someone to give someone right away, I modify my speed so we can both keep moving past the obstacle. If it's obvious my courtesy is not going to receive any acknowledgement,
Yes.
then I will stall. Have trouble starting,
You're a
thus
genius.
forcing them to stop. Smiling and waving apologetically, of course. Warwick Pratchard and Torquay 60s rocker.
Excellent.
What's his name?
I think it's quite a long double-barreled
okay,
name.
fine.
Warwick Pratchard in Torquay 60s rocker.
He's
think
in
60s
Torquay. I don't think that's his second name. That's his situation.
Also, if he's in Torquay, how often is he having to pull in for passing traffic? There's about 8 people there, isn't there?
Well, also, but I like the idea of the intentional stall.
Yes. And
Also, it's quite 70s stalling the car. I
There's
mean,
a
you never
very
see
weird-
people doing that.
Almost
Sorry, mate.
impossible nowadays.
It doesn't really
it's
happen.
actually so
Modern motoring.
passive-aggressive, that, because it... Like, that does a lot to their ego, because they're stalling, so it should be them that's embarrassed, but actually they're thinking, gotcha, now I've wasted like 15 seconds of your life with my fake stall. That is good,
Yes.
very good.
Do you know, Warwick and Torquay, I think you've cracked it.
You know, sometimes, I think in the past on this show, we've been talking about people tailgating, you know, when they drive too close to the back of your car.
Yes,
And
I do, because I am that person.
It's very dangerous.
I know,
though.
I'm sorry.
I hate to be such a square, but it is.
I don't do it since my speed awareness course, one which
Yeah.
I learnt about Smidsy.
Right, and other things,
Yeah.
presumably.
Yeah, speed limit.
But somebody texted this show and said when people are driving that close to the back of their car, they consider it a victory if they can squish their windscreen washers and get the car behind. And that just sort of takes the sting out of it. And
Yeah.
I've recently, when my children are in the car, I've recently started to use a yellow card system for other drivers that my son finds very funny. So if someone pulls it in front of me, I will reach into a fake chest pocket and
I
I'll just
love
do a
this.
yellow card.
You've got to be careful if you're, you know, you don't want to be near anyone presidential when you're doing that.
Yeah,
Don't reach
and-
into the jacket.
True, yeah. And there is no red card, so like it's a bit of a bluff.
Well, that's
It's an
what I
empty
mean. A
threat.
red or a yellow
It is,
card
yeah.
system would be good. You're basically saying I'm displeased.
So when you get your licence, we should all get a red and a yellow card.
Yeah.
And then you just have it on. Ideally, if you're driving with just alone, you could have it on the passenger seat, where I often have a bag of apples.
Well, I have a dog on my passenger seat.
Right.
He's very firmly secured and strapped
Well,
in.
the dog
before
could
anyone
hold
takes
your
him.
red and yellow card for the.
Not rolling around like the apples.
No, the apples. You're right; they are a hazard.
I think if someone saw a Shih Tzu raising a yellow card,
Oh, man.
that might be the weirdest thing they'd ever
Game
seen.
changer. Yeah, absolutely.
Good. Although I like the windscreen spray thing because actually some sort of spray would be a good way to let people know you're not happy with them.
That's right. A water
Maybe we
pistol,
should have
maybe.
a super soak.
Water pistols this is a great idea. Someone needs to patent this immediately.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Oh, I did a really horrible breath then.
Oh, was
You
that
could hear
you?
it. It was really audible. I went,
Was that you? I thought it was Gareth.
no, it was me.
Treat
Oh.
for the listeners.
Yeah,
That was a real
some
grounds
breathing
for,
there.
That was a grounds for divorce breath.
on Absolute Radio. 556 has been in touch, and I like this. We've got another read.
Via the text, Alan, which is on 81215.
It is, yes, very good. Slick radio hosting that, Emily, if you don't mind me saying.
Thank you.
Team Gandalfgate, which thou shalt not pass.
Yeah.
When my dog is asleep on the couch and I need to move him to sit down, find the TV remote, etc., he lets out a kind of low-pitched warning growl, as if to say, if this keeps going in this direction, something very bad is going to happen. Could that be the alternative you're looking for? That might work,
Yeah.
like a sort of kind of deep primal growl, but maybe a button on the car dashboard.
I
for
know,
that.
but I think I'm going to embarrass myself doing that. I can't wind down the window. I do have electrics.
Also, I would worry that I would press the button when I was trying to windscreen wash and, or indicate, and then suddenly it's like...
Is that how you
People
do
don't know
it?
he's
This would be
making a
my
right
my
mess.
low-level warning growl would be... Is that a bit Chewbacca?
I didn't do my physical and vocal warm-up this morning, and I don't think I got it quite as deep as I wanted. I was about an octave off, I think.
Okay, that's good advice, though. Keep it coming. I'm enjoying it.
Yes,
I think
like
that's
that.
good.
I mean, as we say every week on this show, it's probably time to talk about the bio tapestry, isn't it?
Late review.
Yeah. Tag late review, very good.
What? How terrible it is?
No.
Well,
Not how terrible it is.
you say
It might
that.
be coming here.
Well,
might
this
be
is
coming
true.
to England.
Tell us about the Bayeux Tapestry, Al.
It might be coming to England. That's it.
Well,
That was the story. Is a bit of
Yeah.
beige cloth might come here in 2020.
there seems to be diplomacy happening between us and France at the moment.
Who knew?
Yeah.
And
Emmanuel Macron, hello. It's
Is
all
he
right when
over
I do
here?
it.
Is he
It's all right
visiting?
when you do
I don't
it.
know, let me know.
Toby Young does it. Not so all right. You do it. Fine.
Absolutely fine. 2,000 years. But he says, what you're essentially... I don't think it's such a nice gift, Alan. I've got to be honest. What he's... I mean, it's not a gift, it's a loan, we should
It is a
say. It's
loan,
not one of
yeah.
those loan shops. But
Yeah.
they're essentially asking us to relive a very traumatic period in our history when they
True.
owned us. It
Yeah.
is sort of, isn't it like an ex saying, I've taken this video of when I dumped you, and then you can just relive it all the time?
Yeah, I'd like you to keep it for a few months at some
Yeah.
point in the
Well,
future. Yeah.
more literally, as an ex saying, well, you know our nasty breakup? I've embroidered that breakup on a very long bit of material
I'm glad you've
to
said
commemorate
I'm
it.
glad you've said embroidered there because it is not a tapestry.
It's an embroidery.
Oh, and
I'm really glad
apparently-
you've cleared that up, because that keeps me awake at night.
You know what? Apparently, there are some people.
What is
in
the difference?
Apparently, there are some people in the history community that call it the bio embroidery, and I love those people.
Is the history community like Frank's S&M community
so,
to
yeah.
you? What do you do?
I might join the history community that refer to it as the bio embroidery because it is not, and I repeat, not a tapestry.
So is a tapestry,
I don't know the
more strictly
difference, but
speaking,
I know it's
something
not
that's
one.
I
woven?
don't want to fall out over embroidery.
I know it's not one. I read it in 3 different articles. It's definitely an embroidery.
What about they've got it in a museum called La Musée de la Tapisserie de Bayeux? Well, that's a bad idea, because what about if it moves? You're stuck, aren't you?
Well-
With a terrible sounding specific museum. You should have just called
Yeah.
it the Bayeux Museum.
The
Oh, yeah.
Museum of the Biotapestry. Apologies. There is currently no tapestry. And also, I don't know what other reason people are going to buy her for, but I feel like the tourist industry there is going to suffer.
Can I just say, I've seen Bayeux Tapestry.
Have you?
I'm not confident about my pronunciation of it.
Bayeux.
If anyone has a definitive pronunciation for it, do we say Bayeux? Bayeux?
How are they going to text us that? It's just you spell it phonetically,
You
or
can
send
spell
us a
it.
voice memo.
You can spell it phonetically,
Don't
can't
send
you?
us any voice memos, please.
No, don't. Please don't
We're
do
on the
that.
radio. We cannot listen to them.
How do you pronounce the bio embroidery? Please let us know.
Oh, and is it an embroidery or is it a tapisserie?
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We're talking about the Bayeux Tapestry.
We've actually had a way to pronounce it sent to us by Simon in Sheffield.
Hi, Simon.
He says, "Morning, B
Oh,
Squad."
it's hardly Simon in Paris, but we'll take you.
He's calling us B Squad, which I think we'll take.
Okay.
Skinner's not here. There's no two ways about it.
No.
I mean, that's
It's
aimed
true.
at me, isn't it?
No, I think it's collectively.
No, it's aimed at all
We've
of
got
us.
squads here.
Look, I'm happy
Okay,
to be
okay,
B
okay,
Squad.
okay.
No man gets
Okay.
left behind, Gareth. It's fine, all right?
Yeah,
it's
I'm
like
happy to
Bravo
be
2-0 or Black Hawk Down or
We'll
whatever.
give him the
I don't want to
benefit
be
of
in the
doubt.
A-team with BA going on about the plane. As you
I
were.
really wanted to do an impression of
No,
BA,
I know, but
I
we
don't
are not
think I
allowed.
can. My mother said it
Pity the fool who would do an impression of PA.
still didn't do the voice, though, did
didn't
it?
do the voice,
Didn't
no.
dare do the voice.
No, you can't do the voice.
My mother always said it's Bay, as in Baywatch, and as in your reaction to eating something gross, like sprouts, for instance.
Bay,
Much love, Simon Sheffield.
That's a brilliant way of
Bayeux.
remembering it. I'll always
Although-
remember
But
that.
who cares?
Can I
It's
just
what
say
his mum
sprouts are
says.
great?
It's not. Who cares?
that?
Yeah, she might not
She's
know
not.
anything.
It's like, what's her
The
credentials?
Sheffield mum.
Yeah.
But also,
Simon's mum. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
well, you've just got beef with Simon because of that B
I
Squad
have.
comment. I'm
think you
okay with
have,
it,
yeah.
to be
Beef and
honest.
sprouts.
I'm absolutely fine
Yeah, I
with
like
it.
sprouts. Why do we
Can I
only eat
say-
at Christmas? That's what I want to know.
Another thing about the... I'm gonna use Simon's mum's pronunciation.
I'd care more about what Simon says.
Put your
Very
hands
good.
on your head.
The Bayeux Tapestry. David Baddiel's 13-year-old son, Ezra, had a great review of the Bayeux Tapestry. He said, "Who drew that? A little kid with his eyes closed." Which I thought was a very apt summary. I mean, I don't know how much you've...
It's certainly not a drawing, by the way.
How much you...
It's an embroidery.
Yeah.
I don't...
not a tapestry
Well,
or
you
a
say
drawing.
that. How many of us have seen it up close and personal? I have. Okay? It wasn't
Did
many
you
years
like
ago.
it? You don't seem to be enamoured with it.
I felt disappointed. It was very long and beige.
Oh,
It's not the first review you've given that to. Anyway, sorry.
Apologies. But the new...
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is the Frank Skinner Show. I should say Frank's not here this morning,
no.
which, you know, I'm a bit gutted about. We have already been called a B squad, but we're quite comfortable with it.
Yeah.
I'm here with Gareth Richards and I'm here with Alun Cochrane. You can follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or you can email the show via the Absolute Radio website. This morning we're talking about the Bayeux tapestry and how
Only that. Or
it's somewhat underwhelming.
Amongst other things like petty motoring moments.
Yes, we have that as well, ongoing.
It's really just that, actually.
That's ongoing.
Petty motoring moments and Bayeux
And the
tapestry.
Bayeux tapestry, which
Yeah.
I've seen in person, so I feel somewhat qualified to comment.
The Bayeux?
Yeah, the Bayeux.
The real one or the one in Reading?
No, I
There's
didn't go. I haven't been to Reading.
Oh.
I mean, I'm sure I have at some point.
But you have been to Bayeux?
I didn't. Yeah, welcome to my world.
Weirdo.
They say on the Bayeux tapestry, well, it depicts big moments in history. Halley's Comet. That's not Halley's Comet. It's a daisy. That's
is
not
it?
Halley. I don't believe it's Halley's Comet.
Really?
Well, it's like when people attribute things afterwards, that must be Halley's Comet. It's like there will be a man called Hister. He means Hitler. No, he meant Hister.
Right.
Do you see?
Yes.
speaking of Hitler,
Oh, do we want to be?
well, it's interesting.
I don't mind funny stuff about his doll, but that's
no,
it.
the Bayeux tapestry has
Embroidery.
been used as sort of like a statement of intent towards the UK. So, in Napoleon in
Right.
1804, he moved the Bayeux tapestry to Paris
He did.
because he was thinking of invading the
Yes.
UK.
Have you been hanging out with some of Alan's friends in the history community?
And then in 1944, the Nazis moved the Bayeux tapestry to Paris again because
Embroidery.
they would think embroidery.
I bet they didn't get corrected like that all the
No,
time.
probably not.
Can I also? Well, I think also when you say you embroider something, that means you take the facts and then you add stuff to it. So it's not a
Yes.
good way of recording history, really, is it? The embroidery, because
True
it
enough.
suggests
Well, it's not a good way of recording history if everyone's got sort of strange, wonky legs and horses with strange, stumpy heads
Mate,
and funny feet.
You don't know that's not how people looked back then. So
True enough. True enough.
on any photos.
People were saying, on the news when I was seeing this, they were saying it's the gruesome depiction of an English defeat. Is it gruesome? It's an embroidery of stickmen. It's not really gruesome.
You know what
It's not
actually
Saw
happened,
5, is it?
You know what happened? Somebody that was at the Battle of Hastings that's depicted on it was telling somebody about it years later, and they went, whoa, Pixar, it didn't happen. And then they went, okay, I'll be with you in a year or two. And then they brought back the embroidery.
And then they said, wait here a minute while I just stitch this cotton axe in a weird sand, farrow and ball colour. Yeah, so the other thing I notice about this tapisserie is that there's no continuity.
Sorry, I'm not going to stop that now.
Is that what it is? Is that how you say it in French?
What?
Tapisserie.
I believe so.
It sounds like a
Is it?
cake
Yeah.
shop.
I believe so. Again,
Because patisserie is a cake shop, isn't it?
True.
Now, the
Tapisserie
Bayeux
sounds like
patisserie, I would love that. I'd eat
Oh, yeah.
that in a heartbeat. But there's no continuity. They keep changing outfit. 1 minute, Edward the Confessor's wearing olive green trousers. The next minute, he's got some other outfit on.
Oh.
It's like they had more than one person doing it. And I just, I don't
They
know.
definitely had more than one person doing it.
But I
Yeah.
want
Lots
to...
of nuns.
Team of embroiderers.
I want you and that embroidery. We should say, actually, that would be a good text in this morning.
Should we?
Yeah, I should say. Anyone who's seen any other sort of phenomenon that they found underwhelming.
Oh.
Because I tell you what, I've got a few words to say on the Tour d'Eiffel. That's the Eiffel Tower.
All right.
My accent slipped a bit then. Embarrassing.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
What-
Oh, go on. What were you
No,
going to say?
you go.
No, please.
Gents first.
757 Sue in Reading has been in touch. Hi. Here in Reading, we have a replica of the bio tapestry in the museum.
Yes.
However, the nude figures on the original have been clothed because the replica was embroidered in Victorian times. Regards, Sue Camfield. Now, Sue,
Thanks, Sue.
thanks for your missive.
Yeah,
However,
they've taken out some of the long beige bits.
very good. Very
Do you
good.
know there is a naked man on there? He's got
that's what-
himself into
Not on the one in Reading.
a little
No,
bit of
He's
trouble.
been dressed in the one in Reading because it was done later.
I see,
as Sue
yes.
has just explained.
Yes,
However,
I understand, Sue.
can I just say, Sue, you've called it the bio tapestry, and then
Oh,
later
dear.
on you've said that it's embroidered in Victorian times. Now pick a team, Sue. Pick a team.
You're going to have to you're going to spend a
Just want
lot
some
of
internal
time
consistency here.
over the next 2 years correcting people
You're right.
on the tapisserie.
You're going to have a full-time job outside of that exhibit.
You're right.
Picketing.
Oh, you're right. I'm going to have to get over it right now, aren't I?
So I said I asked people to text in if they had anything they'd seen up close, like the Mona Lisa. A lot of people say they find that a bit underwhelming
Right.
when they see it. I mean, and I would be inclined to agree. Check out, Leonardo's John the Baptist.
Well, with
Far superior work, I would say.
you've already.
Have you ever seen Leonardo's John the Baptist?
Oh, here we go.
I wouldn't say you've lit up the switchboard, but
Had to do it, Al, sorry.
things you found underwhelming. Sydney Opera House, now referred to in our house as the Mini Opera House. My brother and I,
Is this you or the texter?
Me, Alun,
Okay.
Alun Cochrane. When I
Okay.
first moved to London, my brother came and we were in the middle of London just walking about, and then we were at this place, huge, shiny, and loads of tourists, and we're there going, that must be summer. What is that? It must be something, because everyone's obviously excited about Buckingham Palace is what it's known as. But
I
we did
love
not.
that
We
you
were just
didn't
going, it
know
must be
that.
something. It's obviously a thing.
It's a big building.
Yeah, it was a big shiny building
did
with
you
a
think-
gate.
As
It's all right, isn't it?
what I'm going to call new Londoners, essentially,
Yeah.
were you slightly underwhelmed by Piccadilly Circus when you first saw
Yes.
it? Because really, let's be honest, what is it? It's a branch of Boots
Yeah.
and a
true.
man sprayed silver dressed as Yoda
Yeah.
with a bowler hat out for money. I mean,
A
there's
couple
nothing.
of statues.
There's nothing going on there.
there's
Massive
big
sports
lights,
shop.
The lights that say
advertisements.
TDK, which is an older video company, slightly outdated.
Yeah.
I just think Piccadilly Circus is a bit disappointing. I can imagine getting on the tube if I was a tourist and thinking, come on, we're going to go there, we're going to go to Piccadilly, and expecting it to be like Times Square. And it's, there's an Angus steak, that's very nice. But,
TripAdvisor.
327 said Tour de France, totally underwhelming. Whoosh, whoosh, and it's all over.
well, yeah, I think that's true.
We went to, over Christmas period, we went to the Tower of London.
Did you?
That
With the
sounds good,
kids.
though.
Oh, give my love to the 70s.
Was it quite
Who's
gory?
there anymore?
Well, quite a lot of people, it turns out.
Really?
It was
Oh, really?
busy, but with lots of international tourists, I would say.
All right.
People from all over the world.
Did you queue then?
Big long queues.
Okay.
Big long queues to see the crown jewels.
Okay.
Behave yourself.
Everyone
sorry.
behave. Can we behave, please? I know Big Daddy's not here, but we've got to hold it
We
together.
already had this problem with long and beige, didn't
I know,
we?
we've got to keep this
Yeah.
fragile boat afloat.
Because the crown jewels are the big attraction.
You're going to keep
Okay,
saying it.
I'm actually going to go to some music because I think we're struggling.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We're going over live to our correspondent Gareth Richards over at the Tower of London now.
Yes, so we went to see the Tower of London over Christmas. My wife has always wanted to see the crown jewels.
Yeah.
Please, can we move on
Yes.
from any... Anyway,
Yes.
and
That's
so
what she
they're,
said.
they're on display. There's a very long queue outside. Then you go down through a windy, cordoned-off bit, still outside. And then you go inside, and there's about 3 big rooms with nothing in. Nothing in.
Can
Just
I-
projections on the walls. Well, this isn't fooling anyone.
Can I just ask a question at this point? What is the attraction of the Tower of London? I've heard of ravens. Is it just the crown jewels? I say just. I mean, they're impressive
Well, I'm
specimens, but...
an expert on this
Okay.
subject. There's the crown jewels. There's the White Tower, which is the one in the square one in the middle of the enclosure, where you go through there, and there's a lot of weapons in there.
Oh, brilliant.
Right.
I mean, one's got crown jewels and the other's full of weapons.
Yeah.
So the crown jewels, you have to queue for a long time and like rooms with nothing in. And I think somewhere there's a big load of jewels and stuff from the royalty. Just get it all out.
Yeah.
Put it all out there.
Right.
Show it all.
Like
show
a
us
car
all
boot
of it.
sale.
Yeah.
Sounds like a logistics nightmare, that. Though, just having it all out. Like, is each jewel going to have its own security guard?
Alan's sort of roadie approach to life, which I really enjoy. I mean, that is a logistical nightmare.
You've got people
chaps.
walking through empty rooms just waiting. Surely there's more stuff.
I like it. It sounds like a Kate Bush video in the 80s.
When you finally get to the crown jewels, there's you've been moving very slowly all the time, and then there's a conveyor belt.
What sort of generation game?
Yeah.
Some sushi's coming past.
But you can go if you want to go close to the jewels. There's a conveyor
California
belt, so
roll.
it's moving you along. So you can only you have to be
chase
running
them.
along the travelator like Gladiator to keep looking at one thing.
Hang on, are you suggesting the crown jewels are on some kind of sushi travelator?
No, the crown jewels are stationary,
And you're on the
People are
travelator.
it's like Yo Sushi around the crown jewels.
so you
or
go
other
around-
sushi places are available.
But why can't you just see them? Can't you just press a button and say, no, I want to stand here. I want to be stationary while I view them.
No, you cannot do that.
You can't
it
get
moves
off.
you on. I mean, you can go back round.
Oh, so you could just stay on
What
it.
is this for? Is this to stop thieving?
I think it's
it
just to
might
keep
be.
people moving because the stationary
Why?
the stationary cabinets were quite hard to see in
There were
because
stationary cabinets there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's less impressive than I thought. It's like like an office.
Just some
no,
pencils
just I
and a
mean the
stapler.
cabinets that weren't moving, not
Grey
royal
stationary
pens.
cabinets
All right.
with ER on the files.
Yeah, so there's the travelator bit, which moves you past the main crowns and everything with the jewels on. But then there's a raised. Just behind that, there's a raised platform where you can go higher and then you can look over the people on the travelator and then you can spend all the time you want there, but you are looking at them from a distance. But then with those bits, they've got like little plaques telling you what it is and then a little metal version of the crown, smaller,
Right.
but so you can feel like you're touching it and feel but it's not the real thing and it's
Right.
smaller.
So they've got a facsimile of the crown.
Very unusual. And I mean, they were pretty jewels, but it was quite a short bit of travelator. And
I like they were pretty jewels. Did you put that on TripAdvisor?
and then by the time
Signed a magpie.
by the time we got into the jewels, Elijah, my youngest, needed a wee, so I had to
Oh,
take
no.
him out.
Of course, he's needing a wee, but he's stuck on a circular travelator. So.
Yeah, but he could have grabbed one of those California rolls while he was there.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
We're talking about Gareth's trip to the Tower of London.
And generally unimpressive wonders of the world that people
Yes.
have seen.
Yes.
Things that are supposed to be.
Exactly.
So we saw the crown jewels. That's took quite a long time, and then there wasn't much of it. And then there's the White Tower in the middle, and there's a torture section which was really short.
Is
Like,
it?
because I think
Right.
basically
You
when
think
people
that'd be long and drawn
Yeah.
out?
Well, I was,
a bit of a chore.
Strange.
ironically, that would have
Misunderstood
been
the whole point of it.
Well, ironically, that would have been the purpose of my visit, and I would have wanted to have spent some time dwelling in the torture
What about
chamber.
torture fans?
But I think when people torture people, they,
A much overlooked section of society.
I think when people torture people though, they cover their tracks. They don't tend to keep the memorabilia around.
when I go to a historical thing, I don't want to look at jewellery. I want to hear about
Yeah,
torture.
absolutely.
That's
I
exactly
was
what
very
I'm after.
disappointed about that. So that was like one room, and then you're through it, and it's like, well, that was. And you know, a rack isn't great to look at because it's basically just bits
Iraq.
of wood.
Iraq?
No, a rack.
Okay.
Like for stretching
Okay.
people.
Just
Oh,
don't take that
not
out
Iraq.
of context. It's going to cause all
Space bar,
sorts of
rack.
problems. Yeah, not Iraq. And also, don't take out of context Alan Cochrane saying, I want to look at torture.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, that's probably to avoid, you know, your sort of, you know, people who just want to. Anyway.
Okay. What happens in
So
the
that's very
torture
short.
chamber, or does
Well,
that
no,
stay
it
in
was
the
just very
torture
short.
chamber?
There was just like you just go through, and and also it was a bit prim and a bit like they don't want to be. You know, it's not like the London dungeon where they love all the gruesome stuff. It was like actually torture didn't happen that much in the UK. very much.
Oh,
like,
it's
they
a
were bit
PC
like that. It was a
torture
bit
chamber.
PC
You
about
might have
it.
hit the nail on the head there because it's so
Well, don't
close
do that
to
in the torture
dungeon.
chamber.
It's so close to the
Yeah,
dungeon. They
they
might be
don't want
thinking, we can't really do torture. They do it. It's just down the road.
Steal
Well,
their
then
thunder.
don't do it. Give up
Torture
on it.
fans are going to be just at the dungeon. They're not. We're getting the jewellery crowd. That's what they're thinking.
But then we went in the White Tower, which is the square bit in the middle. That's like got a thing. So I thought, we'll go in there. And then, so the Crown Jewels was quite short. The torture centre was one room, torture centre.
I like that you've modernised it. And isn't it funny? Torture chamber sounds quite sort of medieval, whereas torture centre sounds highly unpleasant.
Absolutely, yeah.
But then it was an exhibition about all the weapons that they've got, and that lasted absolutely ages. There was about 4 floors of it. You kept having to go up windy stairs. I felt like imprisoned in the Tower of London, which is, ironic. That's what it's made for.
Yeah.
And then Ethan, he just got in his head. He didn't care about the Tower of London. All he wanted to do
We should say this is your son, not your
Yes.
civil partner. Yeah.
was to go.
Or husband, as it would
Yeah.
be now.
He was obsessed with going to the fast food place he'd seen on the way in nearby, which
Okay.
was a fried chicken outlet.
Okay.
So all the way, we're trying to give
I can't
them,
imagine which one that would be.
We're trying to give them, a historical education, and he's going, KFC, we're going to KFC, we're going to KFC.
Oh,
Other
that's the
places
one I'd
are
guessed.
available.
Yes.
And then he said, what does KFC stand for? And I said, Kentucky Fried Chicken. And then all the way around, he was just going, did you know that KFC stands for Kentucky Fried Chicken? So we're in a historical place to learn about history. And he just
That was
keeps-
his.
that's his
Can I just
historical
call that?
nugget.
That was his nugget for the day.
Very good.
You got there too.
Very
Other fried
good.
chicken places are available.
Okay. I'm glad you made that clear. But yeah, I'm sorry that your visit was so disappointing.
Well, no, I love spending time with my family and doing whatever Laura wants to do. And I valued the quality time we spent in that
That was
place, rich with history and heritage.
Gareth turned into a Tory MP suddenly. I love spending quality time with my family. Scandals after this.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had a text in of other tourist attractions that aren't very good. We've got 498, High B Team, the not so great Wall of China.
Hang on.
I'm fine with it.
High B team, are we okay? I can live
That's
with
what
it.
they've decided. The people
Okay,
have
and
spoken.
also, you know what?
Yeah, it's like Brexit. 52% of them think we're the B team.
The people have spoken.
Yeah.
And also,
And sure, it'll cost us 50 billion, but we will get to borrow a tapestry.
the great
Embroidery.
thing is also... This person has started with the Great Wall of China, and I'm really happy with that. So they
Yes,
can say whatever
it's a
they
good
like.
start. 498, High B Team, the not so great Wall of China. The bit where the tourists are was built in the 80s, and the rest is a shambles. Save yourself the bother. Thanks. I'm going to do that. I'm going to make a note of that.
I wonder if that's a
Don't
theme.
go and see the great.
I mean, I don't want to upset Donald Trump, but I think walls are overrated.
Oh, Hadrian's
On the
Wall's
whole.
pretty rubbish as well. It's about 1.5 feet. You can stride across it with ease.
Also, just call yourself Adrian like everyone else. Adrian, what are you doing? It's Adrian. Adrian's Wall.
I'll tell you one thing that is good about the Bio Tapestry is how many people have got what are cliched, boring names. There's like Williams and Normans.
Yes,
It's
right.
really, it's anyway.
All right, Alan and Gareth.
Harold.
Yeah, Alan and Gareth. We're probably in there somewhere.
There's
if
an
you-
Edward, the
But
confessor.
there are people that say this is there's a bit of subterfuge with the Macron offering us, in inverted commas, the Bio Tapestry, because there are some people saying, why would he do that?
Yeah, what's
Why
in
would
it?
he-
What's going on
why
with
would he-
Macron?
I think there's two possibilities. One, I think they might need to hoover where it is.
Oh,
And
yeah, they need to give it a
gonna-
clean.
Let's move and we'll hoover behind the
should say,
tapestry.
yeah.
You need somewhere
Slash
to keep
embroidery.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll look
It's
after
quite
it
long,
for a
isn't
bit.
it?
230 metres, is it? Or
70.
70.
feet or metres? I've
Yeah.
forgot.
But, you know,
But it's long.
you've exaggerated the size of it. It's fine.
It's 70 metres. We are prone to do that as men.
Yeah,
but,
70 metres, yes.
70
So it's long.
metres.
Yeah.
But that's bigger than the channel, because I did think we could maybe share it if it's long
That's
enough.
a good idea, but it might not be robust
it
enough.
takes a
Yeah.
while to go round.
And they're saying
Yeah.
when/if we do get it, in Britain.
Yeah.
Where is it going to be
2020.
displayed? A lot of people are saying, "Oh, but it's in London. Everything's in London." I've had a bit of a brainwave. If
Go
there's
on.
any of the powers that be that are listening,
Unlikely, but go for it.
Alton Towers.
Oh.
Put it alongside a roller coaster. We'll all be able to see it. It'll be a bit like the conveyor belt.
It's
the
like
idea
the
of the crown
travelator for
jewels.
the Crown Jewels.
Yeah.
Very safe bet for Alton Towers, who've been in a bit
Yeah.
of trouble of late. So, they'll still sell candy floss and mouse mats, but they'll get the history crowd in as well.
I
We'll
love
be
that
able to say,
idea.
I'll
They
have-
could have Simon Sharma on the roller coaster giving one of his little speeches about history.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
I mean,
I mean, they are talking about, is it the British Museum they've said it's going to be displayed
is
at?
it? Oh.
I think they're deciding. I think
Sorry, why-
Hastings won it.
I just like the fact
Battle
that
of Hastings.
Alan is such a British Museum hater. You went, you tutted.
It's all London, isn't it? It's London. What about Alton Towers or the North? Or
Okay.
Hastings? Let's give it to Hastings. You're right. I mean, it's not my decision, thankfully.
And then with Hastings, you'll be able to compare it to the real place. See how accurate it is.
You can
Like historic photos.
when you say see how accurate it is, I think the answer is not very accurate at all.
Yeah, I'm not
A
sure they've
70-metre area of Hastings.
I'm not
and
sure they've
Yeah.
focused on the background that much. People just look at you. Is this
I
landscape?
don't know, you'd be surprised. You don't know what Hastings
I don't know how many people worked on it at any given time, but you see, the other thing I heard
Hundreds.
is that it was actually technically it was made here.
Made
I
in Britain.
believe, yeah, made in Britain.
Made in
People
Britain.
have spoken.
It says it on the back. There's a little sticker.
So I'm just saying, will we give it back once it's here? We might not.
You
We'll
know
see
what-
how it goes.
You know what we're like with artefacts,
I wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of Emmanuel, though.
wouldn't you?
No. I'd like to get on the right side. Oh, that's terrible. I
see.
do apologise.
Oh, you're doing that thing.
I know, it's terrible. I don't know how to get out of it now. Get me out of it. It's terrible.
Just press a button.
Shall I? Okay, I'm doing it.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner Show, but Frank's not here this morning. Love you, mean it, Frank. You can follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or you can email the show via the Absolute Radio website. I'm here with Alan Cochrane. Good morning.
Morning.
I'm here with Gareth
Did you
Richards.
just do an
morning.
impersonation of me?
I just wanted to put it out there, see how it went.
Both
All right.
parts of the conversation.
Okay, yeah, I'm just answering for you.
We've been talking about underwhelming landmarks.
Yes, we have been. We
we-
wrote off the Tower of London.
Yes.
We wrote off the Bio Tapestry.
We
I mean,
did.
we didn't write them off.
Embroidery.
We just didn't give it a 5-star review on TripAdvisor.
Yeah.
True.
I didn't even get onto the Eiffel Tower. But can I just say, electricity pylon in a public information film?
Good point.
Thank you.
759 has said the Sistine Chapel. The Sistine Chapel where the fingers touch. Utterly underwhelming and barely discernible. All the best.
That's a bold move.
Good one.
I like it.
Are we going to be in trouble this morning for sort of desecrating culture?
I don't know.
Possibly, but I think that's part of commercial radio's job, isn't it?
Okay, yes, you're right, actually. Absolute Radio, desecrating culture.
I mean, are we here to advance?
Since time immemorial.
057, I know you don't necessarily always read out this sort of thing, but morning, please could you give us a shout out because I'm marrying the wonderful Tom today and I'm currently getting ready with my fab bridesmaids and mum. I can't wait to be Mrs. Land. Love, Ches. Which is nice, but another overrated landmark, marriage.
I did wonder for a moment why you were reading that.
Who's
That's
getting
not the
married?
sort of
Chaz
thing
and
we
Dave?
do.
Ches.
Ches
Okay.
and
Ches and
Tom.
Dave?
Ches and
Well,
Tom.
I was just confused about
Snooker loopy.
Oh, well, that's
Ches-
lovely.
Ches and Tom are very excited for their big day, but you know, limit your expectations.
Wow, I hope
a
everything's
wonderful-
all right at home in the Richards household. How's everything in the Cochrane household?
The Cochrane household is all right. I'm enjoying. I've had a bit of an annus horribilis exercise
Bit
wise.
of bananas,
Oh,
it doesn't
you
work.
can get some cream for
In
that.
in the new year, I've had a problem with this year with exercise. It's been jinxed.
What's happened?
Well, first of all, I had a problem. Let's call it a tummy problem, and so I couldn't train. And then I had an incident, embarrassing incident.
The tummy problem is quite embarrassing.
I tried to do, so I sometimes go upstairs and do a workout with a kettlebell. And if you don't know what a kettlebell is, it's like
Isn't that two different things?
it's like
Yeah.
a
Kettle and a
cannonball.
bell.
It's like
Oh,
a
no.
cannonball with a handle on it that you
Right.
swing and sometimes lie on the
Yes,
floor and get
I'm
up and down with
familiar
that sort of
that. Yeah.
So I put one of those on the floor, started to do some warming up exercises, and then thought, oh, I'll lie on the floor. You know when you lie on the floor and you bridge your hips up? So I'll do some bridges. So I'd forgotten that I'd put the heavy kettlebell behind me, and I went to fall back onto the floor, and I cracked my head on a 24-kilo lump of steel and thought, I honestly thought I was going to pass out. And even though my wife was in the same building as me, our home...
She didn't come to your aid.
No, I phoned her from upstairs. I didn't dare get up and then walk down the stairs. I phoned her and went, could you come upstairs and check on me, please? Bye. Like that. Because I thought, if I now, nod off, they're downstairs watching a film. Oh, yeah, Daddy's been doing a really long workout. He's been up there for 3 hours.
I like you phoning her. It's slightly sort of Donald and Melania relationship.
It was a bit melodramatic, but then I was very concerned that I might get a concussion, because concussions are scary and dangerous. And
Yes.
I Googled them. And
While you were lying on the floor?
No, a bit later
right.
when I'd come around a little bit more. I didn't go out or anything. I didn't pass out.
No.
But I did worry about having a concussion, and I Googled them, and the symptoms, it said, of concussions can be moodiness,
Check.
prone to ill temper, and being kind of depressing company, and occasionally making sexually inappropriate remarks.
So, hang on.
Check.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried I've had concussion for about 30 years and made quite a good living out of it.
Yeah.
Have all comedians, are they all suffering from concussion at the
There's a bit
moment?
of me that's worried by that.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We were over at Cochrane Towers,
Indeed.
which doesn't have a travelator.
No, it's got a stupid man in it that bashed his own head on a bit of exercise. I don't believe in New Year's resolutions, but if I was to have one this year, it would be keep the dangerous exercise equipment where you can see it before you fall backwards.
I
it's
think that's
bit
a
of
very
long-winded-
specific, but a very good resolution.
Yeah, but I don't really believe in them. I think they're a thing that stupid people do.
Wow.
But since the knock on the head, you can run with it.
I can actually do them. I heard an interesting thing. I think people set themselves stupid resolutions that they
Yes.
then can't fulfill.
I don't like the lemming nature of the time
They're
of year
often
either.
too vague. Yeah, and people do that thing of, everyone else is doing dry January, why don't I do dry January?
Well, that's why I say my New Year's resolution, I've said this before, I'm going to take up smoking.
good for you.
Just to see the faces
that would
on
be
them.
great. But I heard somebody saying a thing about one-word resolutions. Have you heard this? Where
No.
you just think of a word that you need more of in your life, and then you have that as like an overarching theme.
Vocabulary.
Yeah, exactly. So it's quite good fun. I mean, it's known on this show that I'm a fan of double denim. So this year, my resolution could be denim. And I could just really enjoy it and get stuck in.
But I like that because you've
on
kept
the
it realistic.
denim.
I mean, mine would be tights. But I appreciate that's
You
not
can't
very
wear
glamorous.
those all year round, can you? I thought you had a rule.
You
that
watch me.
I thought there was you can only wear them after certain leaves have fallen and before the...
No,
Isn't
you
there
can't.
some kind of-
No, it's about Labour Day, which
Yeah.
is an American tradition. So the idea being that you shouldn't
Wear tights if you're good in Labour.
You can't. They don't mean
Quite
that,
handy in
Gareth.
its own way.
I think it's no tights after Labour Day. And I think that falls at a time. So I'm not quite sure of the exact date. I'm sure one of our readers will tell us. But it's to do with the fact that you can't wear them too heavily into the summer months.
Right.
Do you see? And then they banned them entirely. And they
Isn't
said
there-
they weren't chic. Meghan Markle, I noticed, wasn't wearing a tight
Can I just
for
say
the
that-
engagement photos, which
really?
didn't go down very well with the Queen.
Isn't there a problem with your system, which is that America
How
has
dare you.
different weather systems than us?
I know, but darling, fashion is international.
Yeah, but weather isn't. If I start applying rules for what I wear by my cousins in Australia,
I
I'm
don't
going to be in
care.
trouble.
I get led. Yeah, but we don't take any notice of seasons, really. I mean,
Really?
yeah, we don't. You
Oh.
just you try and go from one
In
heated
that case,
interior to another.
A lot of
where
stuff is
possible.
reduced in TK Maxx for the wrong reason. It says past season on the label.
So have you got your
when-
resolutions now?
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
just say when we're talking broadly about fashion, if you're getting your guidance from TK Maxx for that, Alan,
yeah, good
I
point.
don't want to burst anyone's bubbles, but we may
So-
be talking about different worlds.
one-word resolutions.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about it, because I think you can choose your New Year's resolution.
Yes.
As long as you do it by the end of January, you're fine. A lot of
Really?
people think you have to pick it by the 1st of January. I don't agree. So I'm considering...
Concussion?
Concussion was one of them. I was also thinking something that I don't do that I should add in.
Right.
Prayer.
Oh. Wow. What's Frank going to say?
I'm only kidding.
Well, no, you
right.
said it now, love. I mean, what's Frank going to say about this?
I don't know.
Be delighted.
You're right.
I think he's going to be so happy. This, you know what? This is such
Catchphrase.
big news. I'm giving it the town crier.
Oh, well, that's good. Hear ye,
Okay,
hear
calm
ye.
down, dear.
Cochrane turns to prayer.
Is that a
Yeah.
kettlebell?
Yeah.
Just repeatedly hit in the back of my head.
Just to taunt you with your injury.
Yeah. I'm going to get catchphrase. I'm going to invent a catchphrase and become a comedian that's got a catchphrase this
Okay.
year.
I thought you were just
Right.
blurting that out like Roy Walker.
My own idea was, I can't believe you get me for this money. That was what I was going to repeatedly say. Like every
what
gig.
I like.
I can't believe you get me for this money.
Well, what do you think of that?
Yay!
I quite like that. Do you like it, Gareth?
I don't
He's
know
not sure.
if the audience likes seeing behind the curtain that much.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
Karen Morgan has tweeted us saying, patiently waiting to hear what Emily's got to... Sorry. It's a tweet, so it says, patiently waiting to hear at Divine Miss M give her opinion on Prince William's hair this weekend at Frank on the Radio.
I don't think she means his son, that.
No. Oh, lovely.
Yeah, thank you.
Lovely.
Thank you very much. Good
H-A-R-E.
night.
Well, this is
rather
going to
than-
go well because there's a lot of hairdressing puns, aren't there, with the salons? Million hairs.
Indeed.
He's gone. Well, thank you for that because I do have quite a lot to say, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
He's gone for the buzz cut. I
He
think
has
it's called
indeed.
Ask the Youth Correspondents on the... Yes, they're nodding. I mean, it's a bit army, isn't it?
Yeah, but the royals have often got a bit military about
They're
them.
a bit... I don't know, but I've been told.
Yeah.
Right.
And they've got that going on.
Wears uniform a lot, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, he does. It's a bit... But what he's gone, it's a bit... You know, I would say he was at the stage prior to this buzz cut. You know Die Hard with a Vengeance, when Bruce Willis is clinging on to the last embers?
Yes.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now he's just thought, no, I'm going to be liberated from the daily comb-over.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's the best thing he's done. I think
it's
he looks
great.
fabulous.
It's wonderful.
I think it looks
really
good.
is. Great.
I don't think it was
so happy
deliberate,
for
though.
him.
I don't think it's deliberate. I
Do you
think
not?
it's happened because he's posh. I think his hairdresser said, "How are you?" And he began an anecdote by going, "One," and he just thought, "Oh, one all over, all right," and he did it.
That's
think that's what's
fine work.
happened.
I like that.
You having that?
Yeah, I'm enjoying that. I think I might be having that out. But I mean, doesn't he look great? He looks
does.
like
Looks
I want
really
to play
good.
Diana Ross's I'm Coming Out because he feels like a new man.
I don't think that's the story. I mean, that would be front page news.
The other front page news was that it cost 180.
How much? By the way, that's someone's suggestion for my catchphrase. Is how much.
I think
good.
that's great for your catchphrase.
I think
Yeah,
it's been
that's
done
good.
by
Has
other,
it?
Is it?
by other northerners. Yeah.
Oh, you don't want to do a Pasquale.
No, I'm not doing that.
But the haircut cost 180.
Pounds.
Yes.
Not £1.80.
Well, yes, we use pounds in this country.
No, but
I sound a bit
180
Brexit.
pounds.
By Bournemouth prices, that's a bit pricey.
That is a bit pricey.
more
There's a
than-
place in
Well, it is.
Huddersfield that if Wills is listening, Prince William, Wills, that's what people called him in the papers 20 years ago when he was a boy.
Will, shy die.
Yeah. There's a place in Huddersfield that I'm going to say balding men frequent, where
Get me there.
a buzz cut will cost you
nightclub.
£3. £3, and the
£3.
the lineup is just all bald men. They
Can
take a
I-
flat cap off and then they get their hair buzz cut and they're out in about 30 seconds. It's a pretty good hourly rate.
Is it?
that
Right,
barbers,
said
isn't it?
Fred go there.
I think everyone goes
I
there
hope
if
there's
they're in that area.
Can I just say something there? There has been some heated debates about the 180.
Yeah.
And my answer to these people is this. You're paying, in this instance, he's paying, I would say, £20 for the haircut and £160 for the hair not to be sold on eBay.
Oh.
Do you see?
Yeah.
So it's the price of discretion. I say that, although they dead still a story to the newspapers.
Yeah.
But, he's a king. Where's he going to go? He can't go to the barbers. Come on.
can't.
Well, I would see your £3 for a buzz cut and say for like 15 quid or something, you can get the clippers yourself. And if he's
I've got
doing
some.
that,
I've got some.
yeah, he could do that himself.
Sometimes
I'll do that for him.
I do beard and head myself.
Yeah.
Can I just
Easy.
say, Gareth, you cutting Will's hair, I mean, I'd pay to watch that.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We're talking about Prince William, or Wills, as you called him, Al,
I did.
and his new haircut, which we seem to all be unanimously fans of.
A fan of the haircut, not a fan of the price. £180 is too much, but I did a bit of research on it, and apparently your typical human head has got 100,000 hair follicles, so maybe he's paying per hair. Maybe it's like £1 a hair or a penny a hair.
It is expensive, Al.
Although
I
only
grant
£1
you.
a hair,
I
isn't it?
Russell grant you. But what I will say is that don't you think this is a superb role model for your balding man?
Yeah.
You don't have to do a Wayne Rooney.
No, it's good.
Expensive and the recovery time is long. Just, embrace your baldness.
It shows incredible fortitude of character that he's stuck with the baldness, because you would think with all the resources at his disposal,
He
Well,
could have had.
something could be done.
Well, he's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
short of headgear.
Yeah, he could have had a.
I mean, I just never take the crown off. You know how some men
I
who
just
are
don't
having
think
hair
those
loss keep the...
bearskin ones are realistic.
Right.
Not
Yeah, he could probably have
realistic.
borrowed one of those from a friend.
Just keep the crown on at all times.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't technically have it yet, does he? He's waiting for his dad
No.
to,
But,
his gran and his dad are in the way of the constant crown wearing for him.
There's
I like the idea of them being in the way.
Yeah.
Sorry,
a
Gareth.
suggestion too that he's done it because of the taunting from his brother.
I did not like this taunting story.
No, I didn't like the sound of that.
I mean, they're all... I kind of caught
Even
with
though
it
we've
from the
done it.
brothers. But apparently even Meghan Markle was teasing him. She
Yeah.
got him like a ginger hair hat wig thing. And I think he ought to have been like,
she?
hey, you've
I
only
heard
just
about
joined
that,
this
yeah.
family, love. And you're
Yeah.
American and a divorcee, so wind your neck in.
Well, I think she's probably, because it says that Kate has taken the mick out of him, that they were on some, shaking
Kate's
hands with
allowed.
people. And yes, but
She's
there
allowed.
was some
She's
alpaca
allowed.
fur, and she gave it to him and said, "You need this more than me."
Oh, dear.
Good
which-
gag.
Great gag.
And
I'm
then-
fine with that gag
But
in a
cruel.
relationship.
And
I
then-
mean, there's an element of cruelty there.
yeah, that is-
Relationships
is-
should have
I don't,
that.
I don't see Will finding any of this funny. If it was me,
No.
I would have zero sense of humour on this. And then Harry, like to some guy in Barbados, is making jokes when Will's behind Will's back.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, back in
know.
the day, he would be in the tower for that sort of thing.
On the travelator. In the tower,
Yeah,
on the travelator.
Travelator to the scaffold.
I think you're right. It sounds like that would be an undignified way to go, wouldn't it? Do I have to go on the travelator? I want the dignity of
Yes.
the walk. I heard Anne Boleyn got a walk. No, it's modernised now. You have to go on the travelator.
I think Megan's just trying to fit in and got him and went too far.
Yes,
Oh.
Like
yes.
got him a ginger, one of those Scottish ginger.
She's
like,
called
tartan.
her friends and said, "This will be
What should I do?
hilarious."
I don't think Will likes me. What can I do?
Yeah.
And then she's really had a mare.
She's got a bit thirsty for the friendship,
Yeah.
and she's overstepped the mark.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Overstepped the Markle. Is
Yeah,
that what you're
she's
gonna
overstepped
say?
the Markle.
Good for you.
Hey,
That's going
that's
to
a
be the
catchphrase.
first time that happens.
I'm just saying that's a potential catchphrase.
I'll have it.
It's not as good as how much. Nothing is.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
In other royal news, actually, there was a story which I also enjoyed, which was there's been a list released of the gifts that they receive every year. Did you boys see this?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, because they have to declare gifts when they get them. So
Yes.
there's they
I'm
can't
glad
just
I
go-
don't, I tell you. Some of the
Right.
things I got.
Can I just say I've enjoyed my week wearing new bamboo socks that were sent to the show last week.
We did get those, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they've gone down very well.
Very well.
But some of them,
I can only imagine how the royal family are feeling with some of the plunder they've got.
Wow. What about, these are just some of my favourites. The Queen, purple fleece dog bed, brooches and a silk scarf. It's all gone a bit Tory MP's wife.
Brilliant.
But a purple fleece dog bed.
Do you think
I could do with that.
Do you think that's for her dogs, or do you think she has
For
to
the
go in there?
corgis, I don't know. But, I mean, some of her stuff, she got some great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the haul was good. Duke of Edinburgh, travel backgammon and a cloak.
Oh, the cloak sounds awesome.
What
though.
the?
Yeah.
The cloak
Why?
sounds fantastic. It's described as a traditional Spanish cloak by the King and Queen of Spain, featuring a standing collar
Feet collar.
and a crimson velvet lining, and was finished with a silver Salamanca-style clasp. And then the article I read said, as an official gift, the cloak belongs to the nation.
So that means we can all wear it.
Why can't we all have a go in it?
Well, we're going
form
to.
an orderly queue. They could put it somewhere in the Tower of London with one of their spare rooms.
Yeah.
You can have a shot of the cloak
got
and
the
then
room.
go on to the boring
Can
bits.
we apply? I'm asking the producer, if it belongs to the nation, we could apply.
I think
I'm
we
just
should.
saying, a certain person who's not here today has a birthday coming up.
And loves a cloak.
He loves a cloak.
He's,
What's the clasp again? Salamanca?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know
Did
what
I
that means,
mispronounce
but
it?
I love it.
Did I mispronounce it? Are you
What about
picking on me?
no, I enjoyed it. I wanted to hear it again because I didn't know.
okay.
I like the idea of the standing collar, like Dracula.
Brilliant.
They're giving him an element of.
So practical.
It's almost as if they
like
see
a
him as a
real-
slightly sinister character,
Or a glam rock figure. Whichever.
and suggesting that he likes playing games and disguise.
Yeah.
I don't know where they got that idea from. My other favourite haul was Prince Andrew's.
Oh, yeah.
Panda decoration and a prosthetic hand.
He got given a prosthetic hand.
Yes, from a Leeds Technology Centre.
In case
Oh.
he goes too near a panda.
Thought he just vigorously shook the hand of somebody that was an amputee. And
Also,
Just took
what
it.
does panda
And they said, "Oh, you can
decoration?
keep that."
you can have that if you want. I've got loads
I'm
of
having
them.
that. Does panda decoration, I mean, if that meant a panda was sent round to do your painting and decorating, I'd like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But I don't know how that sounds. That could just be a brooch. But the prosthetic hand, if I was going to give that to any member of the royal family, I don't think Prince Andrew is the most responsible. I'm just saying I think it could be coming out at parties, that's all.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We're talking about the royal gift list. I have to say, the Queen also got a Union flag from Major Tim Peake's spacesuit. Can I just say that's one thing the Queen doesn't need?
She doesn't
is
need
a
that.
Union flag. She's got a few of those. That's a bit Coles to Newcastle. She's got some of those as well, I would imagine.
I imagine.
But don't give the Queen a Union flag, because that will get re-gifted.
Mm-hmm.
Someone else is going to end up with that in their stocking.
Although that particular one, I wonder if she might have had to label it like the special Union flag that Tim Peake took to space.
MTP
Well,
with a Sharpie.
it was a badge, wasn't it, on his
Oh, right,
uniform?
yeah.
So she can, you know.
Ambassador, you're
sew it-
spoiling us.
Sew it onto one of her cloaks.
Yeah.
A ripped off old badge.
Sew it onto her swimsuit.
Also,
Prince Charles was gifted 57 books during the period of time that we're discussing. And
lovely.
I wonder what kind of gift receiver he is. I wonder if at any point he went,
Yes.
do you have this on the Kindle? I'm on the road, travelling a lot. 57.
It's not a comic.
57's a lot. Yeah, but he would have been meeting these dignitaries in their countries, a lot of them.
Yeah, that's true.
57's a lot.
Well, yeah, he
Are they ours as
strikes
well?
me as a reader, though.
And me, yeah. But are they ours too?
Yeah, it's like a library. We've got
He could
access
set
to
up
those
a little
books.
library, couldn't he?
He's got a little library. Prince George got a dream catcher. That's a bit we fed the neighbour's cat, isn't it? That's what you bring back. No one wants that. Come on.
Yeah, then, let him have his dreams, for goodness sake.
Don't tread on his dreams. Princess Royal, I mean, I was going to say up there, but down there with Prince Andrew on the gift front. Model tractor and a DVD of the Scottish Fiddle Orchestra.
Oh, dear.
Lovely. Meghan Markle was given an apron.
Yeah, I
As if to say,
don't.
welcome to Britain and our gender politics.
Yeah, I don't like that in the modern era.
Well, you say that, but the Duke and Duchess of Cornwall got a set of tied wooden brooms. Now, the one thing I would say about brooms is I don't think you want them tied together. It's not very useful. At least distribute them. And a bag of lentils.
Bag of lentils?
Yeah. They
What-
were going
what's
to
it-
a cafe in
Is it a
Hoxton.
vegan cafe or something? Ugh. bag of lentils.
Don't upset them. Don't upset them.
The apron, I noticed, had an M on it. It didn't even have like a French maid depicted on the front. Or you can get those
naked
aprons that have got a picture of like a bikini outfit, which that would have been a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Or maybe, or like a man, a man with a hairy chest.
Yeah.
She also got a leather passport holder, which nothing says "go back home."
You'll be needing this, love.
No, but the leather's nice.
Yeah, leather.
Maybe that was one of Frank's friends in the S&M community. Talking of Frank, he will be back next week. Coming up is Sarah Champion.
Is that a regular thing?
That's one of Frank's. Thank you so much, Gareth. Thank you so much, Alun. We'll be seeing you.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.